Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying close attention to the Steelers news cycle lately, you've probably heard about the recent injuries that have been stirring up some concern among fans and analysts alike. And believe me, it's not just a minor blip. The Steelers, coming off a strong start to the season, are now facing some injury questions that could impact their upcoming games, and ultimately, their chances of making a deep playoff run. One of the most talked about concerns revolves around their wide receiver Calvin Austin III, who left the game last Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings with what initially looked like a pretty serious shoulder injury. But here's where it gets interesting. Just during their bye week, which is a much-needed breather for the team, some good news emerged. According to reports from The Athletic's Mike DeFabo, the X-rays taken on Austin's shoulder actually came back negative. Now, for those of you who follow NFL injury reports closely, you know that's a significant update. It's a relief because, initially, many thought he might have suffered a more severe injury that could sideline him for several games. But now, with this news, there's a real possibility that Austin could avoid the injured reserve list altogether and return to action sooner than expected. DeFabo's report was clear. He called this update good news, but also emphasized that it's too early to tell if Austin will miss any games. He pointed out that while the X-rays didn't show any fractures or breaks, there's still a chance that he might need some time to recover, especially considering the shoulder's complex nature. The injury happened during Week 4, and Austin was having a decent start to the season, with 10 catches for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns in just 4 games. He's a player that the Steelers have been counting on to develop into a reliable target, especially with his speed and explosiveness that can stretch defenses. Last season, Austin really broke out, tallying 36 catches for 548 yards and averaging over 15 yards per reception. That kind of production, even if it's not eye-popping, shows that he has the potential to be a key piece of Pittsburgh's offensive puzzle. And with the team's offense already looking promising under the leadership of quarterback Kenny Pickett, losing Austin for an extended period could have been a real setback. But now, with the potential for an early return, the Steelers might just get a boost in their receiving core sooner than anyone expected. Of course, the injury situation isn't only about Austin. There's also some concern about other players who are dealing with issues, but the immediate focus is on Austin because of how integral he's become in their offensive plans and the timing of his injury. The fact that the Steelers are on a bye week at this moment gives them a crucial window to evaluate and decide whether Austin will need to go on IR or if he can come back quickly. This extra week of rest might be the difference maker, giving him the chance to heal up fully and rejoin the team without missing too many games. Now, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture here. The Steelers have been one of the most consistent teams in the NFL over the past couple of decades, known for their tough, physical style of play and a defense that's historically been among the league's best. But in recent seasons, especially under the current coaching staff led by Mike Tomlin, they've been striving to modernize their offense, making it more dynamic and explosive. Austin's emergence as a weapon down the field fits perfectly into that strategy. His speed and ability to stretch the field could be a game changer, especially when paired with the other weapons on the roster. And speaking of the offense, it's worth noting that Kenny Pickett has been developing nicely as a quarterback. He's shown flashes of brilliance, and with more weapons like Austin potentially returning sooner than expected, the Steelers' offensive outlook looks even brighter. The offensive line has been solid, providing protection, and the running game, led by Najee Harris, continues to be a reliable part of their attack. But it's really the passing game that has the potential to elevate the Steelers into serious playoff contention if everything clicks. Now the injury to Austin is a reminder of how fragile the NFL season can be. One moment, you're riding high, and the next, you're facing adversity. But the Steelers have always been known for resilience, for their depth, and for their ability to adapt. With the bye week, they have a golden opportunity to reassess their roster and make strategic decisions. If Austin can return quickly, it will be a huge plus for their offense. If not, the team will need to rely on other receivers, like George Pickens, and tight ends to step up and fill the void. Another player to keep an eye on is Roman Wilson. If Austin does end up missing some time, Wilson's chance to prove he deserves more playing time could be now. He's been developing behind the scenes, and with Austin's potential absence, Wilson could see an uptick in targets and responsibilities. That's the beauty of this NFL season. Every game, every injury, every opportunity can significantly shift team dynamics. Now, let's talk about the division. The AFC North is as competitive as ever. The Cincinnati Bengals, Baltimore Ravens, and Cleveland Browns are all formidable opponents, and each game within the division has playoff implications. The Steelers have been in the mix, and with a solid start to the season, they're positioning themselves to make a push. But injuries like Austin's can throw a wrench into those plans. That's why this news about his X-ray results is so pivotal right now. It could mean the difference between a smooth continuation of their season or a challenging stretch with missing pieces. And let's not forget about the overall context of this team's history. The Steelers have always thrived on their gritty, blue-collar mentality. Even when facing adversity, they find ways to compete at a high level. The coaching staff, led by Mike Tomlin, is known for their ability to get the most out of their roster, no matter the circumstances. So, if Austin can come back quickly, it would be a big morale boost, and it would send a message to the rest of the league that the Steelers are still a team to be reckoned with. Now, I'd like to touch briefly on how this situation might influence their overall draft strategy or roster moves in the coming weeks. The Steelers have been known to be strategic about their roster, especially when it comes to developing young talent. If Austin's injury lingers and he ends up missing a significant number of games, they might look to add a veteran or another young receiver to bolster their depth. But right now, the focus is on Austin's recovery and whether he can rejoin the team sooner rather than later. As fans, we all know how critical every game is in this league. The margin for error is razor-thin, and small injuries can have ripple effects throughout the season. That's why every update, every piece of news is so important. We're all hoping that Austin's injury isn't as severe as it looked initially and that he can get back on the field quickly. Because, at the end of the day, it's about the Steelers fighting for every inch, playing with that relentless spirit, and trying to carve a path back to the Super Bowl. So to sum it all up, the Steelers are at a crossroads, but this bye week has presented an unexpected silver lining. The negative news about Austin's shoulder being a potential serious injury has now been tempered by the positive X-ray results. That could mean a faster recovery, a quicker return, and a boost for their offense. It's a situation that's still unfolding, but one that could have significant implications for the rest of their season. The resilience and grit that define this team will be tested once again, but if history is any guide, the Steelers will face these challenges head-on, with that unbreakable spirit that's made them a perennial contender. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this situation? Do you think Austin will return sooner than expected? How crucial is he for the team's playoff hopes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Steelers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates and analysis, so stay tuned for all the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news. Thanks for watching, and remember, this is your home for everything Steelers.